Hey, it's Adam here, co-founder of Enta Solutions, and this is another edition of Enta Wonders. Today we're wondering by Search Inside Yourself by Chade Meng Tan. Chade Meng Tan is an engineer. He worked for Google, and he ended up designing the kind of personal improvement plan program that Google uses, and it's a lot based in things like meditation. Chade Meng Tan, and he's got a great TED Talks as well. I'll put it in the link. His goal is world peace, and this is how he's doing it. So he wrote this book, and it's a really great read. So he talks a lot about emotional intelligence. We'll just define it here: the ability to monitor one's own and others' feelings and emotions, to discriminate among them, and to use this info to guide one's thinking and actions. So it's being aware. I think we all know what emotional intelligence is at this point. So 5 domains of emotional intelligence. The first, intrapersonal, self-awareness, self-regulation, and motivation. This is know thyself, right? Second, interpersonal, empathy, and social skills. So these are the kind of domains in which Chade Meng plays in emotional intelligence. So what I really liked here is he talks about this response flexibility. So he says between stimulus and response, there is a space, right? It may be a fraction of a second or a split second. But in that space lies our freedom and our power to choose, right? In that space lies our own growth and our own happiness. And I'll get into some great quotes later here, but think about that. Every decision, every stimulus that comes at you, you get to choose. If you're angry, you can recognize that and accept it and let it go. If you're feeling sad, that's fine. So the next part that kind of goes with that is he says that happiness is actually the default state of mind. And I really like this, is when the mind is clear, right? And I mentioned he's looking into meditation, things like that. The mind returns to its default. And if its default is happiness, therefore, happiness is not something you pursue, that you chase. Happiness is something you allow, you surrender, you allow happiness to happen to you, to just be happy. And I read that and I thought, wow, that is just, what a pivotal concept. We're all chasing our tails for this idea of happiness. And all we have to do is stand still for a minute and live in that present stillness. And that it's just very, very powerful. There's another quote here by a philosopher called Sinkan, which I thought, this one made me think for a long time. Still, it says, the great way is without difficulty. Just cease having preferences. Right? How amazing is that? The next time someone pisses you off, think like, well, if I didn't have any preferences, would I care? No, I just, it's very Zen, very Tao. Right? And then, going back to the state of mind and having a choice. And this line here actually influenced and helped me out a lot. Wilting flowers do not cause suffering. It is the unrealistic desire that flowers not wilt that cause suffering. Think about that. So for me, like many parents, getting my kids up and dressed and fed and out the door and backpacks and lunches is an exercise. There's a lot of yelling, there's a lot of physically pushing them out the door, and they're very resistive, and it's very stressful and not a nice way to start your morning, and it's every day and it's constant. And the more kids, the louder it is, and it's chaos. I've got 3. But then I thought about this is like, it's stressful for me because I'm expecting my kids to not behave like kids. So one morning I woke up and it was like, they're going to be kids. And I fully just expected that of them. And it was a totally different experience. There was still urgency and there was still hounding and that, but I wasn't stressed by it. So if I keep saying that to myself, just expect them, why would I expect them to be different? Which is what I was doing. So this one really got me thinking. And then we talk about positive psychology. So this is kind of cool. So positive feelings versus negative feelings. A negative feeling, the way our brains operate, and there's a whole theory of neurology behind this, but negative feelings or negative instances or whatever, negative feedback is 3 times more powerful than positive. So your brain pays much more attention to negative feedback than positive. And there's research to show that in a marriage it's actually 5 times. So you need 5 positive interactions with your spouse to have the same effect as 1 negative one. No wonder marriage is hard. Think about that. That's crazy. And then there's this other thing called empathy neurology, which is cool. So the more we perceive someone to be just like us, the more we empathize with them. So we feel with them. And there's a cool study here. So they had people watch a video of themselves being touched, like on the arm or something, and this temporarily raised your sensitivity to touch. So watching a video of me, if I watched a video of myself and someone like touching my arm or my hand or something, I will temporarily become more sensitive to touch. This idea of like, I empathize with people that I think are more like me. And then lastly, I'll leave you with this great quote, and it says, love them, understand them, forgive them, grow with them. It's beautiful. So yeah, I highly recommend you check this book out. It's got some great stuff in here. Make you think. Trust me, made me think. Thank you.